An armed group opposing the Russian regime detonated an explosive device at the entrance of the police college building in Nazran, the largest city in the Republic of Ingushetia. The incident occurred during the night of June 26th, according to Astra. A small homemade bomb was used in the attack. Fortunately, no one was injured, but the building sustained damage. The attack was later claimed by the Galgaich Armed Forces, a local underground group resisting the Russian occupation of the region. They also released a video of the explosion on social media and stated that the strike had been carried out against a facility where personnel were trained for Russian security forces, the Ministry of Internal Affairs, the National Guard, and other repressive bodies of the occupation regime. Since its opening in 2023, this college has become a center for training future enforcers who are taught to suppress the freedom of their own people under the guise of education. With Allah's permission, we will not allow our sons to be turned into traitors, the underground general staff stated. The statement noted that a low-power explosive device was used, taking into account the facility's proximity to civilian infrastructure. The priority was to avoid casualties among the civilian population and minimize collateral damage. It is claimed that all objectives had been achieved. The 225th Assault Regiment destroyed Russians hiding in buildings. During offensive operations, infantry from Alliance Division of the 225th Assault Regiment discovered buildings used by Russian forces as fortified positions. Thanks to the pilots of the Ukrainian Air Force, those positions were decimated. Ukrainian Air Force is very active lately. Russian positions are targeted on a daily basis. Fire engulfed the enemy's strategic infrastructure deep in the rear. On the evening of June 26th, strike drones from Ukraine's Defense Intelligence attacked the 1061st Material and Technical Support Center of the Russian Armed Forces in Bryansk, hitting fuel depots and rocket fuel storage, according to intelligence sources cited by Union. Bryansk is serving as a launch pad for Russian missile and drone attacks into Ukraine. In June 2025, Ukrainian forces intensified operations against Russian military infrastructure in Bryansk Oblast, including high-profile attacks on missile bases, airfields, and railway infrastructure, resulting in the destruction of Iskander missile launchers, helicopters, and ammunition depots. Local telegram channels initially reported the flight of unidentified unmanned aerial vehicles, followed by a series of powerful explosions and a massive fire. There were 4 explosions. An oil depot is burning, wrote Bryansk residents on social media. According to the sources, the strike was carried out by Bobber, Baklan, and Obry-type drones, models HUR frequently uses for deep raids behind Russian lines. This is part of a broader effort to undermine the Russian army's logistical capabilities, the source explained. The targeted depots supplied fuel and rocket components to Russian units across several frontline sectors. Their destruction marks yet another blow to Russia's rear infrastructure. Earlier, Ukraine conducted a historical military operation Spiderweb, changing old approaches to warfare. The mission has become a symbol of a new era of asymmetric tactics, where innovative drone systems and high-tech solutions allow a non-nuclear nation to effectively challenge a nuclear power state. Footage from the Russian side shows Ukrainian UAV attacks on a fuel train near occupied Tokmak. On June 21, 2025, a coordinated Ukrainian UAV strike targeted a fuel train near Molokhansk, Zaporizhia region. Of 14 drones used, fixed-wing and quadcopters, 9 were shot down. After the first hit, the train halted, and 19 wagons were detached. 4 tankers burned. A separate drone strike killed 2 soldiers escorting the train. Russia promised India that it would deliver 2 more S-400 air defense systems. Russia and India signed a contract for almost $5.5 billion in 2018 for Russia to deliver 5 systems by the end of 2023. The first 3 systems have been delivered, but the delivery of the remaining 2 has been delayed by Russia's war against Ukraine. Now, Russia promises to deliver 1 S-400 system in 2026, and the next one in 2027. It is reported that the S-400 system was used during the operation against Pakistan. Ukraine has returned a group of servicemen under the age of 25 and seriously wounded from Russian captivity under the Istanbul Agreements. The Coordination Center for the Treatment of Prisoners of War reported this. On Thursday, June 26th, the next stage of the large exchange took place, during which Ukraine managed to return the representatives of Navy, Land Forces, Air Assault Forces, Territorial Defense, National Guard, and the State Border Guard Service. The headquarters shared that what made this exchange special was the return of young soldiers. The youngest of them is 24 years old and was captured during the defense of Mariupol in April 2022 at the age of 21. The oldest defender who was returned to his homeland is 62 years old. The vast majority of the released defenders were held in captivity for over 3 years. Many of them were captured during the defense of Mariupol. The National Guard who guarded the Chernobyl nuclear power plant were also freed from captivity. Soldiers who defended the country in the Donetsk, Kharkiv, Luhansk, Kherson, Kyiv, and Sumy directions are also returning home. There are officers among those released. The coordination headquarters noted that the work on the release of the military from captivity continues, and the next stage of the release of Ukrainian prisoners will be held in the near future. The Russian Ministry of Defense also published footage of their soldiers returning. Place your bets. How soon will they be sent back into the assault? Under Russia's strict wartime doctrine, surrender is seen not only as betrayal, but as a crime. Captured Russian soldiers who are later exchanged or returned in prisoner swaps are reportedly sent straight back to the front lines, often without rest, medical evaluation, or debriefing. Multiple Ukrainian intelligence reports suggest that these troops are viewed as expendable, with many being forced into assault roles or penal units. The message from the Kremlin is clear: surrender is forbidden, and any soldier who lays down their arms can expect punishment, not protection. This policy fuels fear among Russian forces and reduces the number of willing surrenders, even as morale drops and losses rise. A world-class resort has been opened with great fanfare in North Korea. It has hotels, swimming pools, slides, a huge beach, and a missile test range nearby. Although it is not publicly announced, North Korea is planning for the resort to be used by Russian tourists. They are expected to start arriving in July. As Western sanctions isolate Russia, North Korea is now offering to host more Russian tourists, promoting state-approved tours as a symbol of friendship. But for many Russians once accustomed to vacationing in Europe's capitals, beaches, and ski resorts, this marks a stark downgrade in travel freedom and quality. What was once a passport to the world is now limited to tightly controlled destinations like North Korea, a reflection of how far Russia's global standing has declined. Lithuanian President Gitanas Nausėda expresses doubt that the war in Ukraine will end in the coming years, as Russia is not showing any willingness for a truce. He said this after arriving at the EU summit in Brussels, according to European Pravda. I hope there will be a resolution to the war in Ukraine before the next period of the EU's multi-annual budget, which begins in 2028, ED. But right now, I am not too optimistic. I do not see light at the end of the tunnel, Nausėda stated. In his opinion, Russia is only pretending to negotiate. I believe a truce is an absolute prerequisite for any peace agreement. And right now, that is not on the table. Therefore, our response must be clear and strong. We must implement the 18th package of sanctions, the Lithuanian president emphasized. He considers the new set of restrictions strong and sufficient, provided there are no exceptions or relaxations. At the beginning of June, European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen announced that the EU is preparing the 18th package of tough sanctions targeting Russia's energy revenues, including the Nord Stream infrastructure, Russia's banking sector, and lowering the oil price cap. According to the EU's High Representative for Foreign Affairs, Kaja Kallas, the new EU sanctions package against Russia will be approved soon.
Thanks for watching. And don't forget to subscribe. Also, if you want to support Warthog Defense, please become our member and get early access to new videos, exclusive members-only videos, and become administrator in comment section. The membership link is in the description.
Rescues every day. We had a guy last week at 6 rescues in 6 days. You know, he's doing the job every day.